Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers, join today and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. Okay, so we're recapping the weekend. We have some pitching to talk about. Good pitching, bad pitching, in-between pitching, Juan Soto being Juan Soto. But first, Oswald Peraza is out, or not even out. He's going to be out for a while, but he shut down for 6 to 8 weeks with a shoulder injury. So this is what the injury is. I'm going to get all medical on you and probably mispronounce things wrong, but bear with me. So he has a strain of his subscapularis, scapula, being shoulder blade. It's right under the shoulder blade. It's that large triangular muscle that you see on anatomy pictures underneath the shoulder blade. And it's not a good strain to have because it's one of the muscles that compose the rotator cuff apparatus. So, if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm moving my shoulder around. It's not good. And it's actually odd that he had this injury because I had bugged my shoulder and it was bothering me for a few days. And when the news about this particular strain came out, I was feeling pain in the same part of my body and I was blaming Oswald Peraza, but it's not his fault. So according to the National Library of Medicine, when there is an insult to the muscle or tendon, I'm assuming that means injury, loss of function produces weakness in internal rotation. Now, surgical intervention may be required if conservative management fails, depending on the activity level or profession of the individual, example, athletes, in the case of full thickness tears. So, shut down for 6 to 8 weeks. That means no baseball activity. Could be 6 weeks, could be 2 months. The timetable is iffy because you don't know how his shoulder is going to react to rest. Hopefully it does. Now, if he's on a fast track and he feels better and he starts doing things in 6 weeks, it's possible he could be back by late May. But if they have to push things back, he might not be back until Aaron Boone's favorite time of the year, summer, which is what he kept saying about everyone else with major injuries, a summer return. So this is really bad news for Oswald Peraza. The Yankees have options, but for him, this is bad because he didn't have a guaranteed spot on the roster. He was fighting for a backup position, and it already feels like he had fallen out of favor with the Yankees, and this is just the worst possible thing that could happen to him and the worst timing for him. It's also not great timing for the Yankees because if they wanted to use him as a trade piece to get more pitching at the trade deadline, that injury could hamper that. Because if he's not back until mid-June and the trade deadline's the end of July, he's not going to have a lot of playing time. He's going to have to warm up in AAA. Now, the Yankees at the major league level have people who can play in place of him. Again, he wasn't really guaranteed a spot, but he would have been a backup infielder. He could play second, he could play third, he could play shortstop. That almost makes it so Oswaldo Cabrera will be back in that spot. And after the way he performed on Sunday, it's possible he will get that spot back because he was looking a lot better hitting. But we'll talk about that in segment 2. So the Yankees have other options also to go along with Cabrera. They have Jamari Jones, they have Jeter Downs, they have Jordan Groshans, they have Josh Van Meter. The last 3 are on the Yankees or with the Yankees at spring training on non-roster deals. There's also time toward the end of spring training if they want to go the route of picking up guys who were dropped by other teams near the end of spring training to be another guy to sit on the bench. Donovan Solano is still there. They can sign him if they wanted to. But, this isn't as dire for the Yankees because it's not like they're losing their starting shortstop. This is bad for Peraza because it looked like he was on the fast track to becoming the Yankees' starting shortstop in 2022. They bring him up. He's playing in the playoffs. they throw him into the fire in the ALCS and played great defensively. The team as a whole didn't hit, obviously, because they were swept out of the ALCS. But it looked like he was on the track to become the starting shortstop. Then last spring training, he competes with Anthony Volpe for the starting shortstop position. Volpe wins. He's down in AAA. He comes up toward the end of the year. He gets better toward the end of his time playing. And, he had some things to prove. And this injury is just, it's not great for him. And I feel really bad for him at this point because it almost feels like it's almost like he's Miguel Andujar without the full good season of MLB under his belt, because Andujar had 2018 before the injury started happening and before his career took a nosedive, honestly. But Peraza feels similar in that way, only he didn't have as much major league playing time as Miguel Andujar. And it's just a bummer. Steve and I always talked about how much we love Oswald Peraza and we really wanted him to have a chance. And this doesn't help. I guess the one good thing about this is that, Boone didn't seem very worried about Peraza. He said it's obviously going to cost him some season, but there's still a lot in front of him in this season. He said, so we'll get him right, get him well, and get him rolling. And they said that the imaging that Peraza had done on his shoulder didn't reveal anything that required surgery. So the Yankees are hopeful that rest and treatment will cure the shoulder problem. But I don't know about you guys, but anytime the Yankees say, oh, yeah, he's fine, he's going to be great, it's going to be fine, I don't trust them. And that's the worst. It's not great to feel that way, but I feel that way. So, yeah. Now, the trouble began for Peraza back on February 25th, feeling it in the shoulder, trying to throw across the field, and he rested a few days, but they sent him for the MRI on Thursday, and then he had a dye contrast arthrogram. Did not read that right. Sorry. So that combination of the MRI and the arthrogram revealed the strain in his shoulder. So, again, shut down completely. 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to be a long time before he comes back. Boone also said, I think why they went deeper and looked a second day with the arthrogram was to make sure certain things weren't compromised or in a bad spot. So, yeah. I've never heard of an arthrogram, I don't think. So, yeah. They really wanted to make sure that the kid was okay. It just stinks. It's just really bad timing for him. And hopefully the rest will help him and, he'll come back, contribute, and do something good for the Yanks, or come back, play well in AAA. And I don't know. I just want this kid's career to take off, and the injury is just the worst possible thing that can happen to him. Okay, don't forget, reply to the pinned comment below on YouTube Monday through Thursday if you want your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday, or you could join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description. You'll get texts from me, and you can text me questions. You'll get priority on Fan Mail Friday if you join the Insiders Club, and there's a 14-day free trial, so you can try it out. And if you don't like it, you can always quit before you have to pay. I do that with lots of subscriptions, but don't do it with this, because if you ask any of the insiders, they have a lot of fun. It's fun. Coming up next, we're going to recap the weekend. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. You can bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. You can use a quick bet to bet on who will hit the first bucket of the game and how. Layup, three-pointer, dunk. You never know. You can also use the Parlay Builder to bet on points, rebounds, and assists, and you can win big. If you want to bet on baseball, you can bet on Juan Soto to hit 30 or more home runs, Aaron Judge to hit 40 or more, and the Yankees are third behind the Dodgers and Braves for best overall record at plus 900. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Welcome back. After you're done here, make sure to watch Locked On Sports Today. It's the Locked On Network's 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And it's pretty cool. You can put it on whenever you want, wherever you want, and you can watch other Locked On podcasts while you work, while you clean up around the house, or maybe even while you're exercising. That's Locked On Sports Today, streaming 24/7 on YouTube. So let's recap the weekend. We're going to do it in a weird order. I don't know why. Just, bear with me. It's Monday. Let's look at Saturday's game, because that was the most worrisome out of the 3 games of the weekend. Because should we be worried about Nestor Cortes? His line was ugly. 3 1/3 innings. He gave up 6 runs on 9 hits, but he only walked 1 and struck out 6. So there's kind of good and bad. I don't know. 62 pitches, and his velocity was down slightly. Not too bad. That line reminds me of my third quarter of junior year of high school report card when I got 3 Bs and 3 Fs, so my mother couldn't understand why. That's the kind of line that is. When Boone was speaking on Sunday's game on Yes, he talked about Nestor's performance because it wasn't on Yes on Saturday. I think it was on the Yes app, or maybe it was on the Twins broadcast, because I didn't see any of the game. I saw highlights of it, but I didn't see the game. So Boone said that Nestor missed with some pitches and that some of the balls were hit hard, but then he also was done in by the defense, and he did get some swings and misses, which he did. He got 8. He had the second highest swing and miss count of the game, according to Baseball Savant. Nestor also said after the game that he felt good and he wants to build himself back up after not pitching for so long. Austin Wells hit a home run, and Boone said that he's impressed with the work that Wells has done over the winter to get better at the catching position. And seeing him hit home runs is a fun time. The Yankees dropped that game 10-7 to the Twins. Byron Buxton had, was it 2 triples and a home run? It was something insane. He hit Nestor hard. So you look at the line, and 6 runs on 9 hits and 3 1/3 is terrible. I mean, it is, because if that happened in the regular season, that would be really bad. But like he said, he's really building himself back up after not pitching for so long, because he didn't pitch for a long time when he was shut down for the rest of the season at one point. So, and he didn't pick up his off-season stuff. He started right before he got married. Then he went on his honeymoon, and he picked it up after that. So it might take him a little longer to build himself up. But 62 pitches is good. That's only about 30 to 40 away from where you would want your starter to be. And that's what spring training is. You're building back up to get to 90, 100. No one really throws that many pitches anymore. Isn't it funny how it's rare to see someone get 105, 110 pitches? When you had guys in the World Series throwing like 150 pitches 20 years ago, or more like 25 years ago. So Yankees dropped that game. Not a big deal. Nestor, if he keeps performing like that, I'd be worried. But really with him, again, it's building himself back up and the health and feeling good after the start and feeling good the next day. Didn't hear anything about how he felt on Sunday. So we'll find that out in his next start. So let's talk about Sunday's game. And I know, why are we doing this so out of order? Because we can. Clarke Schmidt. Okay. I don't know if the time change affected him, but his first inning was ugly. Ugly. I don't even think did he get an out? He got 1 out. I think he got 1 out, right? Allowed 4 runs. And his final line was 2.5 innings, really. 2 2/3 innings. 4 runs on 4 hits with 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, only threw 52 pitches. But what happened was, and I love this, Boone took him out in the first inning because his pitch count was up and he had given up the 4 runs. And then Boone put him back in the game in the second inning, and he pitched a 1-2-3 inning. He looked like a completely different pitcher. I don't know what happened to him when he went in the dugout. I don't know if someone, maybe he was tipping his pitches and someone told him, or I don't know what was going on, but he looked like a completely different pitcher when he came back in the second inning. It was night and day, honestly. About that, wouldn't it be great? We spoke about this, like crazy rules that we'd want in Major League Baseball. We did an episode or a segment of an episode a few weeks ago about that. Now, wouldn't it be cool if you could do that in the regular season? Say your starter comes out in the first inning and he's just not looking right, and he's given up like 2 runs and there's only 1 out, and you're able to bring someone in to relieve him, and then he gets his stuff right on the bench, and then he comes back out for the second inning and is fine. I think they should consider that, because they did that with Cole too, his first spring start. But I think they should turn that into a rule. Juan Soto's doing Juan Soto things as usual. He's batting .500. He's 10 for 20. He hit another home run on Sunday. Boone said about Soto's home run, "That's how I used to not hit them." Judge on Soto's home run, he said that guys wanted to see the distance in the exit velo immediately after he hit it. And by the way, it was 447 feet. I think it was 112 off the bat, and it landed adjacent to Dale Mabry Boulevard, which is not that close to the field. I mean, it is, but it isn't. You know what I mean? Speaking of home runs, Jose Trevino is back. He hit one. He really golfed it, though. He reached down and golfed it to left field, but it's good to see him back in the lineup behind the plate. Schmidt said he was happy to have Trevino back. He likes working with him. Not that he doesn't like working with the other catchers, but he has a rapport with Trevino, and they were working on some things. Maybe they were working on some things in the first inning, because some of those pitches look kind of wacky that he was throwing, like missing the plate badly. And then, as I said, when he came back for the second inning, his pitches look great. So yeah, they were working on stuff and seemed to have figured it out later in the game. Giancarlo Stanton hit a stand-up double, oppo. Good sign. He also worked a walk. He's looking better at the plate. Ron Marinaccio looked way better than the last time I saw him pitch, but he still had trouble putting guys away with 2 outs. He gave up a home run with 2 outs. And here's one big thing for Sunday that I'd like to discuss. And I know I've mentioned the word lineup how many times in the past 3 weeks, 2 weeks, but we're going to have to keep mentioning it because we're getting closer and closer to opening day, and Boone is more inclined to play his regulars and build them up as well in the lineup. So the lineup on Sunday was DJ, Soto, Judge, Rizzo, Torres, Stanton, Verdugo, Trevino, and Oswaldo, because Volpe wasn't playing. Could that be the top 8 for opening day with Volpe in the 9 spot? It's very possible. Most of those guys got hits. I think Judge did not. He was taken out after 2 at-bats. They say he's fine. He said he was only, after the game, he said he was only going to have 2 at-bats, and Boone said he was only going to have 2 at-bats. So he wasn't taken out for injury purposes. He just wasn't going to play a lot in the game. I didn't even notice that he was taken out, I don't think, right? Yeah, I didn't really notice it at first. And then I thought to myself, wait, where's Judge? As for the Soto home run, my goodness, I like watching this man play. And yeah, it feels like it's going to be a really fun season. And I saw someone, I can't remember who it was. It was one of the baseball gurus from Twitter. Either it was a baseball prospectus guy or a Fangraphs guy. Who was it? Can't remember who it was, but they just said, so Juan Soto is going to win the MVP in the AL, right? Because that's what's going to happen. And then other people were joking about how maybe Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado were holding him back in San Diego. I don't think that's true. Oh, and wait a minute. This was funny. Connor Foley, friend of the show, he's been on a couple of times. He now works for Yes. He used to be a beat writer for Scranton. He said something pretty funny that I thought, oh, well, this could be. Okay. This is what Connor said. This is the most home runs Juan Soto has ever hit in spring training, passing the 3 he hit in 2019. His team won the World Series that year. I know that spring doesn't really mean anything, but to see him that comfortable, that's really good. Oh, and following the game on Saturday, the Yankees optioned Agustin Ramirez to Double-A Somerset. So we will talk about Friday's game in segment 3, which is coming up next. But first, Fire TV is your destination for sports. From live games to highlights to in-depth analysis, Fire TV offers amazing viewer experiences with smart TVs as well as the Fire Stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournaments, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. And that includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels let you dive in to all the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest sports, including March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, and cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit amazon.com/lockedonfiretv. Okay, so Friday's game. Marcus Stroman threw 4 no-hit innings in Dunedin against the Blue Jays. He had 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. He threw 53 pitches, and he looked good from what I saw in the highlights, so that's always nice. He's actually one of the stronger pitchers so far in spring training. I know some people were questioning their move of signing him, but he's fitting in really well. I've seen him and his teammates having fun in the dugout and during practice, and I'm happy with the signing so far. And hopefully, we'll get first half 2023 Marcus Stroman for the entirety of 2024. Clay Holmes had a clean inning of work with 1 strikeout. This is Friday night again. The one blemish for the Yankees pitchers was Yerry De La Cruz, who gave up 2 runs in his inning of work. But the Yankee pitchers overall held the Blue Jays to those 2 runs on only 3 hits. But the Blue Jays won 2-1 because the Yankees didn't really hit a lot, but there weren't a lot of regulars in the lineup. DJ LeMahieu was there, though. He had an RBI double for the Yankees' only run. But it's good that Marcus Stroman is doing so well. I know it's spring training, but it's after the hip injury that he had to finish the 2023 season. It's good to see him healthy, and it's good to see him performing. Oh, and there was one more thing I wanted to talk about with Nestor Cortes. He wore, they were calling them jeats because they were denim cleats. He wore them in his start on Saturday, and I don't know if you guys saw what they look like. I'll put a picture up. For the YouTube audience. If you're listening, just Google it in case you didn't see them. But they're custom Nike denim cleats. And Aaron Boone actually joked that I think they look better from afar. That's my opinion. But they were creative and unique. I'll give them that. And yeah, after seeing the picture, I will put up the tweet from the Yankees. They're okay, I guess. But, Nestor likes wearing funky cleats, and gosh, that's something I never thought I'd ever see. But it was funny because they were calling them jeats and spelling it Jeats, like cleats with a J. People were saying, yeah, jeats, like Jeter. I did that on Twitter. I couldn't help doing that joke. But it says on the Yankees.com article, the shoes were the brainchild of Cortes and Miami area artist Marcus Rivero, who goes by the name Souls by Sir. Their relationship is simple. Cortes throws out some ideas, Rivero brings them to life. In this iteration, Rivero also added his own flair in places like the mustache patch that mimics Cortes's signature facial hair on the back of one shoe. So yeah, it's like not completely light washed jeans, but they're lighter colored denim. And then the swoosh is very light, like bleached jeans. But they're very interesting, I have to say. And you know what? I feel like as long as players are not distracting up here, and if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm just waving my hands in front of my upper body and head. As long as they're not distracting the batters that way, guys should be able to wear whatever color cleats they want. Baseball needs to be more fun. It just does. They try to do it with the City Connect uniforms. They did it with Players Weekend, which I think they should bring back because those were always fun. And I feel like guys should be able to express themselves. And they should be able to express themselves with their gloves as well, as long as they're not so distracting that batters will be like staring at them as they're supposed to be staring at the ball. But Cortes said, I told him I wanted to go denim. I didn't know he was going to go out all that much. So I guess it was a surprise to him when he opened up the box and saw the jeats. And in the article, it said, while spring training is about trying new things, it's also about getting work in. So regardless of the general consensus on Cortes's fashion statement, he and his shoes still had work to do on Saturday. And I told you about the final line, which wasn't great, but as long as he feels healthy, that's what we should worry about. As we get closer to opening day, though, let's hope the numbers get a little better. So before we end this Monday edition of Locked On Yankees, don't forget to join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description below on YouTube and a 14-day free trial. You'll get texts from me, and you can text me questions for Fan Mail Friday. Also, another reminder for Fan Mail Friday, leave your questions under the pinned comment on YouTube. And if you're an insider, you will get top priority on Fan Mail Friday. So that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.